What's up, everybody? We are back. John Della Rose here, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction, coming at you from the Della Rose Sound Studio in lovely California, by which I mean my closet. So, this is the best spot for less echo and quiet because I got kids and stuff. So I just got to do it, and that's where I go record. It's good. It's good. And when I do, eventually I'm going to get back into recording music and things like that. And I will be doing my vocals in here too, because this is the perfect spot to record vocals. Closets, bathrooms. You guys, this is how it's been done in the underground for a long time, and we'll continue to do it. So this is kind of a little story that's been overlooked by a lot of YouTubers, I've noticed, and this is a huge, huge, huge deal. I saw this and I was like, "Whoa, this is nuts." And the only reason I'm paying attention to it, where others aren't, is because it's Supergirl. And of course, nobody pays attention to Supergirl, which is why I got here to this point. But I do. So I really like this image, by the way. I don't know who drew this, but I think it's cool. Anyway, Supergirl is concluding digitally with issue number 42. This is from Newsarama. The ongoing series is still scheduled to conclude, which means it's not ongoing. You got to stop calling things ongoing when they're not. As announced by the publisher's original May solicitations. But now the final two issues will publish on digital platforms only as part of the publisher's revised post-distribution shutdown schedule. So now that the shutdown's happening, they're just going to come out with these and they're going to be like, I'm going to save on the print cost, because if you know anything about comics, publishing single issues really does not make money for a lot of these publishers, especially at the lower sales numbers. So let's check out Comic-Con and check out and see what Supergirl sales numbers are at to determine where this cancellation actually matters. And we'll go to Supergirl. There was not one in April. Okay, so let's go to March. This is the type of thing a professional YouTuber would figure out ahead of time. So Supergirl's holding at about 10,000 units at number 40 here, which is a pretty darn low number for things. I mean, this is okay if you got an indie deal. 40 cardstock. Oh, maybe there's two different. Looks like we got variant covers to cover things. So 17,000. Gosh, it's annoying. Let's look at something without variant covers so we can kind of figure out the reality of things. 39 did about 10,000. Okay, so the variant cover did 10,000, and so it is hovering around 10, 11,000. Batgirl's doing a little less. These are just things that are not the hugest of properties. Supergirl maybe should be doing a bit better with a TV show, but I read the first couple volumes of the Rebirth Supergirl and was not terribly impressed with the direction that they went through it. Oh well. So that's where we're at. So we're at 10,000, and at $3.99 price point, this is how much DC makes off this stuff. So we'll do $3.99 times 10,000. And that is about $39,900. Now you got to give Diamond a discount of about 50%. Let's see, times 0.5. And then you got to give comic shops a discount of about 50%. So at the end of the day, DC is clocking home about $9,975 on this. And that then they have their print costs. And their print costs are probably 25 cents a book. So we're at about $10,000 times 25 times 10,000. So they're down to $7,500. Art cost on this is probably $200 a page, I would guess, for something of this kind of low statures, times 22. That's 4,400 plus a cover. Let's call that 600. So we're at 5,000. Writing, probably $50 a page times 22. Jody Hauser will make about $1,000 there. So DC is left with an issue profit of like $1,000 off of this, not counting marketing, not counting editorial, not counting anything else and all their overhead and all that. That weighs this down for a large property that indie comics don't have. So this is in the red for them at the end of the day, and it makes sense not to actually have that print run, because that print run is the bulk of their profits at about $5,000 or whatnot. That cuts their profits in half. So if they even just get half of their sales through digital, it will cover all their costs, and they won't have to do the hassle of the print run, the shipping, all of that stuff that adds up over time for this book. And this is an interesting case for floppies in general, because if you look here, Supergirl is down here at like number 159 or 165 for units. Is that right? Oh, we're all the way down, but we've got all these books down here that are also. This is oh, what's going on? Estimated units. Oh, we're in I'm in the wrong spot. There we go. 159. 172. So that means for the units, what's going on? Let's go look for by unit for where it sits on the charts. Okay. Supergirl. Oh, there's a cardstock version of this one also. What? I don't know what this all means. All right, but it's down here in 159. That means everything below this is also in this not profitable range, where it makes more sense to just go digital than not. And so this is an experiment from DC to see how many of the people will jump from the print to digital in addition to their normal digital readers. And I find this very interesting because as an indie creator, what makes sense the most is to go in digital, and that's what I promote the most. If you look at my Flying Sparks, I've got print here, but I came out with digital first. And if you notice, I only came out with print versions for my first couple issues. I haven't actually done it for my next ones yet because there's an additional cost for formatting, additional cost for relettering it for print and things like that cause me to have some headache. That you know what, most of the people just buy on Kindle anyway. I get about 90% of my sales on Kindle. It makes it very difficult to justify the expense of putting out a issue. And this is what DC has found also, which is pretty neat. And I am kind of excited about this because it means that people are transitioning to a new market, a new idea, a new push for a different style of comic industry. I think that the current comic shops, I love comic shops and I support my local comic shop, of course, but I think the model with the way the stands are laid out and the way that comic shops are incentivized to carry the DC products and all that makes it very difficult for indies to break in, makes it very difficult for any indie to get seen because everybody goes directly to their shelves where the DC and Marvel and stuff are. Indies kind of get shoved to the back and they get much less shelf space. On Amazon, it's a great equalizer. I just run my ads and people find my books, and that's how it goes. And it's fantastic. This is not something that can be done with comic shops because every comic shop that would pick up my book, I would have to go convince them to, spend $1 or $2 to actually buy the physical book from Diamond and to stock it on their shelves. It takes up shelf space, costs money, all that. On Amazon, anybody can just buy it and see it at any time. And I think this is a good thing overall, and I think it's a really neat thing for DC. What I would like to see with this from these companies, Marvel and DC, is for them to go digital only with some new characters or things like that. What happens is they always come out with these new characters like what was the ones from Batman Metal? There are a bunch of them, and they don't give them much space to grow, to become their own character, for people to really discover it through word of mouth. It's always canceled within 12 issues. They give these things short leashes because they really don't care about developing these new characters. As a publisher, they're just incentivized to publish Amazing Spider-Man 4 times a month so that you buy it 80,000 units 4 times a month because you'll just buy it because it says Amazing Spider-Man on it. And that's how most of the comic industry is. But with digital only, without having to do print runs, without having to do things like that, you can experiment with a lot of things. And that's what I'm doing. I'm experimenting with a lot of different genres of comics. I'm experimenting with a lot of different things. I'm doing short comics. I'm doing full graphic novels. I'll have an omnibus of Flying Sparks at some point. All these things are made possible by the way that the internet works and the way that digital works in a way that's never been done before. And so while this numbering system and this old outdated way of doing these comics is now just being pushed to digital for a couple of issues, it makes a great experiment because they're not going to lose anything anyway on these. They've already canceled the title. They're already done with it, but they get to see exactly what happens when a title goes fully digital and whether the people from the comic shops will come in, what percentage of them will come in on the sales and what percentage of them will just dip out because they want their physical collector edition thing to shove in a box. That is a very interesting metric to have. And I would be very interested in seeing those numbers. However, DC and Marvel do not share their digital numbers, so we will never know. Interesting stuff. What do you think? Is this a good thing for the industry? Does it matter? Is this a slight to Supergirl and Jodie Houser and company? I don't think it's the latter. I just think it's an interesting business experiment, personally. But leave a comment, hit that like and subscribe button, and we will be back soon.